How to blend two images in Photoshop. Method 1, the layer opacity option. The first way we'll look at for blending two images together is by using Photoshop's layer opacity option. Here's the first I'll be using. And here's the second image. If we look in the layers panel, we see both images on their own separate layers. The forest photo is on the background layer and the portrait is on layer 1 above it. The opacity value. The opacity option is found in the upper right of the layers panel. By default, it's set to 100%, which means that the currently selected layer, layer 1, is completely blocking the layer below it from view. The opacity value controls a layer's level of transparency. By simply lowering the value, we make the layer more transparent, allowing some of the image below it to show through. The more we lower the opacity, the more the top image will fade into the bottom image. I'll lower the opacity from 100% down to 75%. This means that we're now blending 75% of the image on the top layer with 25% of the image on the bottom layer. And here we see that the image is starting to blend in with the forest photo. Method 2, using a layer mask. The second way we'll look at for blending two images in Photoshop is by using a layer mask. Unlike the layer opacity option or the blend modes which blend entire images as a whole, layer masks let us control exactly where the two images blend together. Adding a layer mask. To add a layer mask, first make sure the top layer is selected. Then, click the Add Layer Mask icon at the bottom of the Layers panel. How a layer mask works. Layer masks control the transparency of a layer, just like we saw with the opacity option in the Layers panel. But while the opacity option affects the transparency of the entire layer as a whole, a layer mask lets us add different levels of transparency to different parts of the layer. In other words, we can use a layer mask to show some areas while hiding others, making layer masks perfect for blending images. They work by using black and white. Any part of the layer where the layer mask is filled with white remains visible. And any part of the layer where the mask is filled with black is hidden. Let's see how we can quickly blend our two images together by drawing a black to white gradient on the layer mask. Selecting the gradient tool. Choosing the black, white gradient. With the gradient tool selected, go up to the options bar and click on the down pointing arrow next to the gradient swatch. Blending the two images together. Make sure the layer mask, not the image itself, is selected by clicking on the layer mask thumbnail. You should see a highlight border around it. Then, click on the image and drag out a black to white gradient. I want the right side to be hidden, which means the right side of the mask needs to be black. Since the gradient will start with black and end with white, I'll click on the right side of the image and drag horizontally over to the left. Press and hold your Shift key as you drag to move straight across. Viewing the layer mask. If we look at the layer mask thumbnail in the Layers panel, we see where the gradient was drawn. The black area on the right is where the top image is hidden in the document, allowing the photo on the background layer to show through. And the white area on the left is where the top image remains visible.